What's going on, guys? It's Bart here, also known as Mr. Creator, also known as Euphoria. So today I'm going to be showing you how to create your own project and how to start working on your own tools. I know so many people that have asked me, yo, how do you start making these tools? I want to start creating. I'm super excited. Hey man, I'm 45. I'm trying to learn how do you make the things you do. Hey, I'm 25. Hey, I'm 15. Hey, I'm 13. Everyone from every different age has asked me this question. And today I'm going to show you how to do it. First, you need to download Visual Studio 2022. And I'm going to be building for Windows. So if you're going to be trying to build some basic tools, something cool where you can control your device or read some information from the device and create your own tools from here on out, this is the video for you. This is the video where you're going to learn how to become a developer, how to create your own tools, how to create helpful tools and sell these tools to the masses. This is where it all begins. So let's get started and let's get straight into it. Visual Studio 2022. That's the first thing you need to have downloaded, like I said. Then we're going to create a new project. So make sure you have .NET installed, you have C Sharp, a lot of the basic libraries you should just already have installed. And we're going to be working with Visual Basic. I'm planning to maybe later on include, like a different tutorial showing you how to create these projects in C Sharp. I like to use C Sharp, but Visual Basic is a very good language to start with. A lot of beginners should begin with this language just to get familiar with how syntax works in programming, how programming works, how the programming language and a computer all work together in executing some sort of task, whether it's a function, whether it's a button click, or it's like some time delay function or anything like that. We're going to be going straight into it, and you can do a lot of the basic things that you do in Visual Studio in C Sharp. It's just the beginning language that we're going to use. So let's do Windows Forms application. You can do under all languages, select Visual Basic, and we're going to be doing a Visual Basic VB Windows Forms app. So we're going to select that, click next. We're going to call this, let's say, Apple Reader, Apple Controller. So just, name the project whatever you want, and you don't need to have a jailbreak for this because I'm going to show you how to use some default libraries that are built by other developers. So let's just get straight into it. Click next, click create. Don't show this again. And let the project load. And there we go. Because I have scaling changed on this monitor, that's just going to pop up. So here's your Windows Forms app. This is your application. You can just run the app right here, pressing this button, or Control and F5, or whatever is the key for you. It could be just F5. So let's click run, and let's see what happens. Boom. We can minimize this, and as you can see, this is our first app. That's all we had to do. We just had to create a project, click run, and that's it. There's nothing in here, but there we go. We created a simple form. When you close that project, it's going to reopen Visual Studio and allow you to start designing or start coding. In this area right here, you will be able to control a lot of the properties of whatever you select. So if you click on the outside here, this area, this black area, click on the outside and then select the thing you want. Like this window, I want to select this window. So now it's selected. You won't see a difference because there's no elements in here, so you don't see any difference. You can resize it here by dragging here and stuff like that. You can play with it however you want. So I'm gonna click on this, and then you see text here, form 1. That is going to change the text here. So we're gonna call it Apple Controller version 1.0, and then click in the black space here. Done. And there you go. I don't have an icon yet, so I'm going to remove this icon. So you can scroll down here and look for show icon true, turn that off, and now it's looking a little cleaner. Now let's make this a little bigger. Let's say every time this starts, I want this to start in the center of the screen instead of just starting like, just by default right here, or here, or here, or here. I want this to start in the center because I have OCD and it's just frustrating when the program just starts wherever it wants. I want it to be in the center every time I open it. So let's select our project. There we go. Scroll down, start position, select this, and go to center screen. Now if we run it, you will see your program is going to start in the center. Much prettier, and I don't know, just much nicer, and just seems a little more professional, right? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some buttons into here, because this is super blank, there's nothing we can do. What you want to do is click on the toolbox here, and then you can select a bunch of these elements here. I know some of you may not see this option, and if you do not see this option, I want you to go to View, and then you'll see Toolbox right here. You can click on that, and it's going to force it to open up. Then you can just click this little All Windows Forms category, and there you go, and you'll see all the things you can play with. So you got a label, you got a list maker, list box, progress bar, button, checkbox, pointer, background worker, group box, all kinds of elements that you can use. So I'm going to select the button here. I'm going to drag it and drop it here. Make it a little bigger. Slap it over here. And I'm going to rename my button right in this area. So look, I click over here, I click on the form. I have the form selected here. As you can see, this is the ID. This is the element that I selected. If I select the button, you will see it has the button here. So now I can change the button element information. Down here you will see the name, which is also kind of known as an ID. I want this ID of this button called detect button, and just hit enter. So what I just did was, by default, every button or every element has a default name. Like this one was just called button 1. I renamed it to detect button. So I'll show you why that matters. If I double click on this button now, you will see it's showing some code. This is where you're going to actually have the code for your Visual Basic project. Here's the design, here's the form, actual code. Now, let's say you accidentally have this design area closed, but you have this code open, and you're like, how do I get to my designer? I need to open it, I need to see how it looks. Just go over here to this side by your Solution Explorer area, and go to Form 1, or whatever form you have. Here's the name of your project, and then click on this. Double click, boom, there you go, it loaded. Nothing to worry about. Now, let's go back to the button here, and we want it to do something. So I'm going to first also, not only did I rename the ID, but I'm going to rename the actual name of the button. If you ever need to pause the video or slow down, just pause the video and go back. I'm going to continue on. The text, we're going to call detect iOS device. Hit enter, and there you go. So now we have a button that says detect iOS device. Now there's one more thing I want to add. Two more. I want to add a label that's going to say device info, enter, and then I'm going to put it up here, and then I'll take another element and I'm going to grab a text box and drop it right here. I'm going to put this right below here. You don't have to follow along exactly in code, you can just watch the video and see how I do this. I'm going to click on here, click on this arrow, click multi-line. Now this will support lines to go down. So I'm going to make it bigger. As you can see, it's a huge text box now. I click this drop down area, I just, put whatever information here, hit enter, and there you go. Here's like a text box with information that I wrote. I'm going to delete this, just I was showing you for example. Now the next thing I'm going to need is the library. So let me just grab these libraries over here. Give me 1 second. Now these will be in the description below for you guys to download, but I'm gonna paste it here. So these are the files that you can use on Windows to read information from an iOS device. We're going to be implementing these program files with our actual code and our program so we can, read and pass information in between. I'm going to open this up. Give me 1 sec. Alright, here we go. So you will see a bunch of files in here. Lib, plist, lib. you'll see a lot of exes right here. You'll see iDevice syslog.exe. These files right here, if you look right here, all these files, these can be used to communicate with an iOS device. So let me show you what happens before I go back to Visual Studio when I run this in CMD. So I'm going to go here in this box. I'm going to type in CMD and hit enter. This is going to load up the command prompt, right? So now what I can do is, because I'm in the directory of these files, how am I in that directory? Because I clicked in here and I just typed in CMD and I hit enter, so it by default is showing this directory. Now, if I want to run, for example, iDevice activation, I'll just type in iDevice activation. I don't even have to put the exe at the end, so watch. Enter, and it ran the command. Dir. So this is dir is going to show all the files in the directory. So as you can see, iDevice activation is one of them. I don't have to put the extension at the end for it to run. So if I run, for example, another one, not iDevice activation, but iDevice info, this one is what you're going to be using a lot of. iDevice info. Enter. Alright, there you go. As you can see, it's reading a bunch of information from a phone I have connected, which is an iPhone 6s Plus. I have it connected. If you do not have the phone connected and you run iDevice info, it will say no device found. If I connect it again, it should work just fine. Keep in mind, if it's not reading any information, the device might have to trust the computer. So unlock the device and then click trust this computer, and then you should be able to read the information like this. If it's still not working, another command you can use is iDevice pair. This will force the device to pair with the computer. So if I run iDevice pair and unpair first, I always like to run unpair first to make sure nothing is connected. Alright, successfully unpaired. So it looks like I was paired with a device, obviously, because it read this information. But I'm just showing you, for example, if it's not connecting, it's not reading anything here, just run iDevice unpair. And then after that, you want to go back and do iDevice pair space pair. There we go, and now we paired. And you might see a message come up on your device that says, do you want to trust this computer? Tap trust, and then after you tap trust, now run iDevice info, and it should be working. There you go, and now you can read information from the command prompt of your device, info, when you're connected. Great, so now you're learning a little bit about these libraries that you can use on Windows. There's other ones like iDevice Backup, there's also Crash Report, iDevice Date, iDevice Debug. Another one that's very helpful is iDevice Syslog. You can drag it and drop it and hit enter. And this is basically showing you all the information that the phone is doing right now. Everything it's running and everything that's going on in its brain and logging, this is what it's outputting. If you want to stop logging it, just hit Control C. And there you go. Alright, iDevice info. Cool. That's what we're here for. I just need to explain to you how these little libraries work and how you can use them. Let's move on to the next thing. So we just need to get iDevice info. What I'm going to do is go to here, here, and then we're going to find our program, which is called Apple Connect. What? I don't think it's Connect. I don't think it's made there. Where is it made? Don't tell me it's being made here. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's not? Weird. Let's go back here and I'll just do file, save as. Where is it saving? It's saving it in bye-bye FRP. Oh my gosh. I don't know why this is happening. Let me redo my project, guys. Give me one sec. I don't know why it's being created inside of another project I was working on. So stupid. So stupid. I don't know how the fuck that happened. Alright, so I'm going to relaunch my program real quick. Alright, there we go. So now we have our program back up. So what I want to do is when I click detect iOS device, basically I'm going to want to run the iDevice info library program. So I'm going to go here. So go into wherever you have your file saved. So it could be under, it usually would be in C. Go to users, click on your username, mine is Bart, then go to source, repos, and then select your project. But my projects are not getting saved there. I'm getting them saved to a backup drive, so they're going to be here. So go into your project, you'll see a SLN, which is a solution file, and you'll see another folder for your actual solution with more resource files. So let's open that up, open up bin, open up debug, open up net, whatever you have, and then paste, nope, not that. You want to paste the file that you downloaded, which is lib iDevice info, W. So that means lib iDevice working. That's why the W is at the end. So now, this is where our program is. As you can see, I ran it, boom. This is where our actual uh, built program that's compiled with our files is here. This is where it's going to be. It's in the debug area for testing. So if I go back here and I just do project build, build and do rebuild solution. If I rebuild it and it's finished, which is right here, rebuild succeeded, I run this here, you should see the button now, and there you go. Because I rebuilt the program, it's rebuilding with all the new elements that I added into it. And there we go. So we have our little text box here. Nothing happens yet, but again, guys, baby steps, and we're gonna get there. So let's go back, and I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks how you can learn on your own how to do the rest of this. So I'm gonna click this, and I'm gonna say, I'm lost and I need help and I need to write this code. I have no idea how to do it. Open up your browser, type in ChatGPT. Just make sure it's clean. Alright, hold on a second. Oh my gosh. It's gonna be fucking forever. Alright, here we go. I'm writing a Visual Basic program and I want to execute a file in the same directory as my program. The file is called iDeviceInfo.exe and it is in the lib iMobile device W folder. Alright, there we go. So now let's copy this code from here to here, because as you can see, private button click sub. This is where the sub starts, and this is where the sub ends. We only need this part of the code. So just follow along and just watch how I do this. This dim current directory, this will create a variable as a string, and this will be grabbing it from something called app domain current domain base directory. You don't need to know exactly how this works, but know that it works. So moving to here, dim execute path as string. So it's making another variable which is called executable path as string, and it's grabbing it from lib mobile device, iDevice info. And then what it's doing is if it's here, then execute this. If it doesn't exist, if the file exists, execute. Otherwise, the file does not exist in the location. So let's go run it and see what happens when I just try to run this code. Let's see. It should technically run the program. It should run a quick exe file and it should close right away. Because if I go here and I run iDeviceInfo.exe, it opens and closes. It opens and closes. So what happens if I run this? It should open and close. Open and close. There you go. It's working. It's working. Alright, so now we need to actually grab the information from there and put it into here. How the hell do we do that? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we do it. We're going to grab this code and go back into ChatGPT and tell it I want to execute, oh my gosh, I want to execute this code but I also want to log the output. So I want to collect the output. I want to log the output and save it to a file. Alright, let's see how it's going to do it. How is it going to do it? To log the output, you can do it like this. Okay, so what is it doing? Get the current directory of the application. Combine the current directory with the relative path. Okay. Then specify the log file. So I guess now we have some new code, which is going to be a log file using the current directory, and it's going to create a file in the current directory called log.txt. Super simple. A variable, a string, and the path directory for the new log file. Moving on, check if the file exists before attempting to execute it. I mean, do we really need to read this, or should we just give it a shot and see what ChatGPT is made of? Let's paste it. Stop the program from running. Run it again. Go to our folder where we were at. And let's see what happens if I run this. Process executed successfully. Output to log.txt. Okay, so is there a file here somewhere? Log.txt. I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Log.txt is right here. And there you go. We have the output information from the actual library that got executed with our own program called Apple Controller. So every time I run this, it's overwriting the file. It's not adding the information to the file. It's possible if you wanted to keep adding information to it, but it's better just to overwrite a file rather than keep on adding, because it could get confusing if you are trying to collect variables. See, because it could output like this, or if you write it differently, it could output it and just keep writing to it. So you would have a bunch of the same variables over and over. Anyways, you can see it's 14, but our file does not do that. Our file overwrites it. It's back to 4. Alright, anyways, let's say we want to write the file not to, I don't want it to write in here. I want it to write in this folder, and I want to put the log file here. Well, all I have to do is grab this and say that's the directory. Go to this directory and then write the file. Alright, let's stop it. Let's go back here. Here, log.txt, delete, go here, and we should have a file here somewhere created in just a sec. Let's run it. Alright, and detect. There it is, log.txt. And now that we can write the file every time, all we have to do is say, now I want to create a function that will read a file and output the data into text box 1.txt. Boom. Let's see what happens. So this is how functions look in Visual Basic. They're called private sub, and then it has the name. So private sub, and then you can create any name you want for a function. So I can call it testing 1 2 3, or unlock me 1 2 3. Whatever you want to call it, you can call it whatever you want. This is, you're just basically saying whatever the name is here. You can specify this here. So watch. Let me just show you what I'm talking about here. I'm going to copy private sub read log file and display. From here, this is a function. Private sub, end sub, that's a function. End sub, private sub. Okay, I guess there's another function here. So we have 1 2. Copy, minimize, go here, and there's end sub here. So we cannot write the code inside of here because this is going to be on the button click, the code's going to run. I need it to be outside of the end sub. Paste that new code, and now I have a new function. This doesn't do anything. This only executes when I call it. How do you call it? You call it by putting its name and parentheses at the end. That is how you call it. So if this function runs, anything inside of here if any of the parameters here are matching up, that's when that stuff happens. It's pretty simple, you know. If the file exists, then run this code. Else, do this. Else means if this, else this. It's super easy. It's yes, no, or no, yes, however you want to look at it. So I'm going to copy this, and let's say the file executes successfully. After the process executes successfully and writes the file, then I want it to execute log output. So what this would do is, okay, I guess this would run the file, but I don't want to do that. I want to, what this does is it checks for the file, it executes the file. Okay, so basically I don't need that code because this reruns the same thing. It just runs the same file again and then creates the file. So just delete this part actually, and I just want to do read log file and display. So paste that here. Look at that. Let's do this. Run it again. Just watch the code. Just watch what's going on here. Boom. There you go. I wish we could have a scroll wheel so we could actually move up and down this information. Let's close it. Go to our design. Click on our text box. Go down here. Look for scroll wheel. Scroll wheel. Where is it at? Scroll bars. There they are. Click vertical. There we go. Now we got vertical scroll bars just like we wanted. Let's run this again. Our phone's connected. It should execute the iDevice info file. Then it's going to write the log.txt file. And after that all happens and you click OK on the message box, then it runs the next code to read the actual file and populate the text box 1.txt. How do I know that it's the text box 1.txt? It's because I'm experienced with this. By default, every single element that you drop in is going to be called the element name with the number 1 dot whatever. So this one's text box 1. This one would be label 1. Watch. See? Label 1. This one, text box 1. How do I know it's text box 1? It's from here. If I change this to iDevice info text and copy that and hit enter, if I go back here, you'll see that if wherever I had text box 1.txt, it actually automatically changed it here for me as well, because that's what I had the code changed to. So watch, like iDevice info dot text equals test. So basically after I run the file, I should just say test in here, no matter what I have. See, every time. But if I delete that and run it again, done. Now, I don't want this to like show that it's like running it, right? I don't want it to like show that you know what I'm saying? Here, let me show you. I don't want it to show the command prompt every time. You see how it flashed really quick? I don't want it to look like that. I want it to be pretty, and I don't want this thing to show up. I just want it to be clean. So let's get rid of this message box, and let's also figure out a way to get rid of the command prompt to show up when I run the command. Let's close this, and I'm going to say, I'm going to copy this code, right? This is the code inside the function that I want to change, because this is where I know it is. Let's go back to ChatGPT, paste it, and say, I want to have the command prompt minimized and hidden when it runs, and just hit enter, and let's see what ChatGPT is going to give us. As you can see, it has some new information here. Create no window, true, and where else is it? I guess that's all it does. Let's go back here. Let's grab it from here to here. I guess that's all we need. This is the only part that I see changed. The rest looks the same, so I don't need to copy that. So let's grab it from here, paste it, and also, when the process executes successfully, I don't really need the message, so I'm gonna put a apostrophe And any apostrophe in Visual Basic basically means that you're commenting it out, which means you're telling the computer or the process when it executes to just ignore this line of code and I don't want it to run it, but leave it as a comment for the programmer to look at if they wanted, but don't actually execute anything. So that's what the green lines mean. So we're gonna only have it show the message if it can't find the file or something messes up. So we'll just leave that there. And other than that, yes, create no window, true, good. So that should be it, and it should just be reading and not showing any weird windows. Let's minimize it, detect, done. As you can see, I have what kind of information? We have the serial number of the device. What else do we have? iOS version 15.8.2. This is the type of iPhone, which is an iPhone 6s Plus. You can grab this information later on. Go to your browser and just type in ipsw.me. Go to iPhone, click on an iPhone, and then you'll see in the top here, it actually has the type of product it is. So later on, I'm going to teach you how you can actually figure out what image to download in your program so you know what device to display. So I can just paste it and watch. Hit enter, and it's loading iPhone 6s Plus. So this is how some of my programs figure out what device type it is without knowing from the actual iDevice info, because in here it doesn't say iPhone 6s Plus. The way you can figure that out in your program is grabbing this, making your program connect to the internet, load a URL like this, and then pull the data from this website right here by going to inspect, and then you go to where is it? Copy, and then you want to do copy full XPath, and then you paste this here. This is a specific path that's going to always grab from an element that's matching this hierarchy. So if it starts with HTML, goes to body, goes to div1, goes to div1 again, goes to div2, and it has a header 3, and then later you can say dot inner text. Something like this. I'm not going to show you exactly, but it's something like this, and it's just grabbing this information and then you put it in your program here. But that's it for today's video. I'm going to be showing you guys later on how you guys can separate this data, how you guys can make it have the information separate for each label, how to also download images for what product you have connected, how to also restart a phone, how to add even more features later on, and having more control with your own software. So this is only the beginning. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. I'd love to see what kind of feedback people are going to give me after this video, because this is the first video, so it's going to most likely be the most popular that everyone's going to use. But again, I'll just see what feedback I have, see what I can do to improve, make it more informative in any way possible, and continue from there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.